welcome to Chocks Hangar. What follows is an update to my review that I did recently of the Aeroplane Heaven C47 and DC3 package. I bought both versions of it, the C47 and the DC3, and if you watch that review, which was a couple of months back, you will know that whilst I did say that I liked the add-on, I said that it was in need of a patch, particularly because there was difficulty with the engine starting. That bit was a bit glitchy on it, and I said that I was sure that Aeroplane Heaven would get on the case and get out a patch fairly quickly. It's taken them a while to do it, but they have today brought out a new patch, bringing it up to version 1.2. That adds a few whistles and bells to the package, including a floatplane version of the DC3, which was an unusual one. We'll have a look at that in a moment or two. But the main thing that it sorts out is some of the texturing on the reflective textures for P3D version 5, and it sorts out the engine start issues. So you no longer get a GPU appearing on the outside of the aircraft, internal starting off the batteries, but you can now do a proper cold and dark start. So two things to bear in mind here. When I say a proper cold and dark start, I am actually using the procedure not in the Aeroplane Heaven manual. I'm using the procedure in this thing. This is the RAF manual for the DC3, C47 Dakota, whatever you want to call it, and I am on the page for starting the engine, so I am following the exact proper procedure for starting the DC3 and the C47, so it is a genuine cold and dark start. So it looks like we might actually finally have a reason to mess around with these things. Now, if you know anything about the DC3, you might recognise what this is. If I show you the other side of it, this is a panel of a World War II C47. The actual real thing. And this is one of the cowling flaps, which I am currently holding upside down. And where that one actually sits is this is off the port engine on the outside. You can tell that by the little cutout along the bottom that fits around the exhaust. So what you would do is when you were starting it up is you would turn the levers in the cockpit, and that would tilt that thing out, allowing air to sort of cool the thing off and what have you. So we might actually get to use these for real. Kind of fun thing. Yeah. Keep an eye out in the not too distant future for a few other bits and pieces and memorabilia that I'm going to be showing you on a video. More on that before the end of this video, and I'll give you a bit of a clue as to it as well. So here we are. Let's crank this thing up. So I was just hitting record on the simulator there, because we want that bit showing as well. So here we go, and I am going to make sure that this thing is set up properly. So the first thing that I will need to do is I will need to get the fuel mixture levers on the right setting, and the right setting is there. Not all the way, auto rich, not sort of like full sort of emergency rich. You want it there. So that is too far forward. Come on, back you come. Oh, bit fiddly this, to be fair, but you'll get there in the end. There we go. Right, propeller levers fully forward. Turbocharger, superchargers in, low blower. We definitely want the fuel turned on, because you don't want to be going, oh, my plane won't start. So what we want is we want come on. Left main, yeah, and then we go on the other tank there. 1, 2, 3. Right main. So we're on the right fuel, on the right fuel tank. So normally throttle cracked open a little bit, but main thing, props fully forward, auto rich. So then what we need is we need the battery on, because we're not using an external starter, and we want the booster pumps on. So we turn those on, and then what we want is we want this thing on, the master ignition switch on. So make sure that that's pushed in, and we want the engine primers. Now on the real thing, what you would be doing is you would be pressing this a few times to get it going, but you can just leave them up for that. Now I could put the landing lights on if I wanted to, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. So everything's all fab and groovy. So now what we're going to do is we'll start the left engine first. So I'll get ready to have a look at the engine. I'm just going to check that. Yeah, there we go. So the engine's there, and here we go. Right, so we'll go up. Left engine. Now we're going to mesh it. You can see that that's cranking it. And then what we want is and there it goes. It's actually started. There you go. Now I'm going to make sure that I put the parking brake on because we don't want to get rolling off. So I can leave that on that view, and we'll go back to the cockpit view. And then, of course, what we want to do is we want to start the other engine. So the primers are on, the booster pumps are on. So all we should need to do now is go down on that. And down on that, and we can have a look. And, you know, I won't worry too much about going there. So the other propeller would be turning. So now what I can do is I can go. Hopefully that one will be starting. There we go on the external view. Have a look at that. There you go. Both engines starting. So there you go. The patch works. And it does start your engine. Now, at this point, you make sure that these things are in the neutral settings. So you can zoom in on that and make sure they are. You don't need the engine primers on anymore. And you could turn the booster pumps off if you wanted to, but you're alright. Now, in this manual here, what it does say is that if the engines won't catch, if you're meshing them and it won't catch, what you're supposed to do is it'll be going too rich on your mixtures, and what you're supposed to do is pull that back. Pull the mixture levers back to idle cut-off for a second or two. What I've found is if it's having a little bit of difficulty catching, what you can do is you just kind of play around with the throttle levers a little bit, and that tends to do it. So there's occasionally a little bit of fiddling with the controls to get the thing started, but that's actually quite realistic. It is very much like the real thing. So there you go. The DC3 actually works, and since we've got the engines running on the ground, we will get those engine cowlings open, and there you go, engine cowlings open. Now, if you were curious about this thing and where it actually is, it's, if I move that view around, it's actually that one there. Now, if that doesn't look exactly the same as the one that I showed you, that doesn't mean it's wrong. There were some variations in them. Sometimes people riveted the thing short or slightly open. Sometimes they were completely replaced and stuff like that. So you don't always see engine cowlings looking exactly the same. So, you know, if you're looking at that and going, no, it doesn't look exactly the same on the model, doesn't mean it's wrong. It means that it was the one that was thought out there. So there we go. DC3 patched to 1.2 version, and it works. There you go. Now, just before we close this little sort of patch update review, let's have a look at the floatplane. So, got my favourites. And where are we? C47 floatplane. So we get that thing. So here we go with the floatplane version. You can see that it's yeah, it was a little bit slow to load the textures in. Now, despite the fact that you can do that sort of proper starting and what have you, you can also Control E it if you want to, which I've just done there. So now you've got your choice on whether you want to do that. Yeah. The thing to bear in mind is that if it does that, if it doesn't start, just because you've hit Control E doesn't necessarily mean everything's right, and you can see the problem there. Mixture levers not right. So mixture levers fully forward. Fuel tank, right main, fuel tank, left main, prop levers fully forward, turbochargers in low blower, or superchargers I should say. Battery is on, magnetos are on, engine primers are on, ignition switch is on, and so there's a Control E start, and you can see why it wasn't working the first time. The mixture levers were back. So this thing, there were, I think I'm right in saying 30 sets of floats made for military C47s, but I don't think they used them all. The intention was that they were going to be used in the Pacific, but the floatplane version of the C47 flew like a pig. It was 30 miles an hour slower than the main version. It used to burst tires when it was landing. It had really hard to take off. It handled really badly in anything other than sort of like mirror smooth water and what have you. So I think a lot of the floats kind of went by the wayside. After the Second World War, there were one or two DC3s. It might only have been one DC3 that had a set of floats added to it. So they're fairly unusual. But if you want an unusual DC3, or C47 I should say, this is perhaps another reason to get the Aeroplane C47. It is. Oh, that's the other thing about this variant. The floats had, I think I'm right in saying, I think they had 14 compartments that were all watertight. But one or two of the compartments were fuel tanks, so it actually had more fuel tankage than a standard C47, because there was a bit of fuel in there. So there you go. It's, you know, it's certainly different looking if you want a different DC3. And you can see that what is happening there is that the water rudders are turning with the main rudder, which is actually how they functioned on the real thing. There wasn't any sort of like fancy stuff going on in terms of sort of like water rudders and what have you. It was genuinely like that, with the rudder being attached to the water rudders. There wasn't a separate control for it. So we take this out to the runway, and it's going to fly like a pig. So here we go. Land it on the water, as long as it was not too choppy. So there you go, the matched Aeroplane Heaven Dc-3 C47. Obviously this floatplane version is the C47, which if you bought the button package you're going to get anyway. DC3, there are a few sort of additional paint jobs for it, and they've sorted out the metallic paint jobs for P3D version 5 and what have you. So, you know, you've got extra things in both the DC3 package and the C47 package. You get this extra one in the C47 package. So, there you go, fully patched up, as I said they would do it in the original review. Just took them a bit longer than we thought it was going to, but yeah, we got there in the end. Now, I've got another really interesting video coming up in the next day or so. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, various bits and pieces of aeroplanes and what have you, I've got a really cool video that you're going to like there, and I know one or two people that I chat to at AbSim are particularly going to like this one, because it was sort of related to a subject that we were having a discussion about. And if you want a bit of a clue as to what that video is going to be about, I'll give you a little bit of a clue. There you go. If you know what that thing is, and I'll hold it up to the camera, if you know what that thing is, and what happens when you pull that, you'll know what the new videos, the upcoming video is going to be about. Anyway, that's all from Chocks Hangar for this episode. Short and sweet. It was just reporting on the fact that the patch does actually work for the Aeroplane Heaven C47 and DC3. There you go. Take care.